We're going through tough times now in Israel. If you're following the news, hundreds and thousands of people are demonstrating all over the country, in Yerushalayim, in Tel Aviv, Beersheba. And what it boils down to basically is the court system is has monopoly, the left wing has a monopoly, and the left wing is anti-religious and anti taking reforms against the Arabs and very extremely liberal. And anything that the government tries to set forth, they immediately rebuttal. For example, the government now proposed not to have chametz brought into government institutions and hospitals and to be sold in stores on Pesach, and they're going to rule this unconstitutional, etc., etc., etc. Anything which has to do with religion, anything which has to do with um, taking a stand against the Arab terrorism, they're battling. And in fact, when two Jewish children were killed not long ago, and there was some retaliation by the nearby residents, so the left wing calls this a Holocaust, and and they said they would never believe something would happen in Israel like this. And we're dealing with tough times. We're dealing with tough times. And the question is, what is Das Torah? How is a Jew, how is a religious Jew meant to be acting under these circumstances? Lapid, who is one of the leaders of the opposition of the left, said he's calling for civil war. He wants to call for civil war. What should we do under these circumstances? What is a religious Jew meant to be doing? So, of course, the first thing that we have to do is turn to Hashem and Tefillah. And we know that Chazal tell us that Yishmael, the progenitor of the Arab people, has that name because, as Chazal tell us, at the end of days, which we're in now, that they will cause us to call out to Hashem, and that's certainly happening with the numerous terrorist attacks that are happening weekly. So definitely the first action is to call to Hashem. But I believe, and of course I'm going to try to verify this with Gedolei Hador, that we cannot stand by silently and just let this take place. I want to tell you an example. I got into a taxi yesterday, and the taxi driver was a very anti-religious person. When as soon as we got into the taxi, he made an anti-religious comment, and I just kept quiet. But then he told me the price. He said a very inflated price, and I said, "I'm sorry, no, I would just like it to be on the meter." So the taxi driver says, "Well, if you don't pay this price, then I'm going to drive very slowly." And he was driving very, very slowly. So listen, I'm sorry, I have to get to my destination soon, and I really can't. I'm not going to pay more than the price on the meter. And if you don't put the meter on, I'm going to call the company. In any event, he was resistant, so I called the company, and I hung up immediately, and I said into the phone, I said, "There's a driver who, unless we pay an inflated price, he's going to drive very slowly. What should I tell him?" And I said, "They said that you should drive faster." And in fact, after I did that, he did try to drive faster. And the rest of the ride, he was screaming at me. And the truth is, I wasn't upset an iota. I took the opportunity to call a number of single people that I know and to give them brachas. They should find shidduchim makarav. And I believe this is the right course of action. Because when you're dealing with individuals who are driven by a feeling of uh, hatred towards religious people, then you're not allowed to just stay silent and be a victim. It's true, no harsh words should be said. You shouldn't say anything violent, and you should darchecha darchei noyam. But it's important for every Jew to realize what's going on now in Eretz Israel, that a religious war is taking place, and whether Tommy Lapid's instructions are carried out to make a civil war, but it is actually happening. And I remember a few years ago being in a car and hearing Tommy Lapid on the radio, and when he was commenting on the fact that Jewish school children were taken to Hebron, to the Kvarim of the Avos, he said they shouldn't be taken there. They should be taken to the grave of Herzl to prostrate on his grave. And this is the situation we're dealing with now. And the Vilna Gaon, who's cited at the end of Sefer Evan Shloimeh, I believe it's Parak Yud Yud Aleph, he talks there about the final days before Mashiach comes. He says that the difficulty will be with the Erev Rav, that the Erev Rav will be the people leading the country, and there will be a great fight between the Erev Rav, and Torah will be disgraced, and the Erev Rav will be in front. And the prototype we see is the confrontation between Yaakov and Esav. The Torah tells us that the Bnei Rachel B'sof, says the Gra, that's the Talmud Echamim, and the Bnei Shvachos Barosh, says the Gra, the Bnei Shvachos, the children of the slaves, this is the Erev Rav. And the Erev Rav are kicking to take control. The Zohar says that before the Gula comes, before Mashiach comes, there'll be a flash, there'll be a upsurge of their power and trying to take control, and then Mashiach will come. And perhaps we're seeing now, perhaps we're seeing this upsurge as a flash. It all depends on us. It all depends on our chazar b'tshuva, our tefillah, our recognition that this is all from Hashem. But it's my firm belief under these circumstances that we can't let ourselves be victimized. The religious cannot let themselves be victimized by the hatred of our non-religious brethren. And the truth is that many of the non-religious are sympathetic. Many of the non-religious do not want hummus to be sold in stores on Pesach. They don't want parades that are disgusting to be going through the streets of Israel. They don't want um, 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 violation of Shabbos taking place. We're dealing with a large number of people, but we're very, very firm and acting with violence. 2 days ago, they stopped all traffic to the airport in order to thwart Netanyahu from leaving the country. Right? They're turning to violence, and our job during this time is number one, to turn to Hashem and ask Him for salvation. But number two, to be strong under these times, to recognize that a war is taking place, to recognize that evil is trying to manifest itself and destroy everything holy, and to be and firm and at the same time pleasant. We don't have to speak with violence. We don't have to resort to things, but to be firm. The Brisker Rav said, when someone's trying to cheat you, in patel ti patel, the pasuk says, if someone crooked, you have to act crooked. Said the Brisker Rav, who was the paradigm of integrity, in patel ti patel, that if you don't act crooked, if you don't act in such a way with somebody who's trying to cheat you, then you violated a rabbinic principle. During these times, we have to know that the evil is trying to manifest itself and trying to strengthen and flex its muscles and trying to destroy Kedusha. We have to hold on to Kedusha. We have to do everything we can that the Kedusha should not be destroyed. And in fact, if you look here in the background, you'll see the steps, the lamp leading up to the Beis Hamikdash. We hope to be on that ramp very, very soon. Things in this country are happening very, very fast. And anybody who's listening to this shir, and I apologize for the wind in the background noise. Anybody who's listening to this shir, I beseech them that they should open up their hearts to Hashem and ask for speedy salvation. Much Jewish blood has been spilled in the past 2 weeks. And the Erev Rav is making every attempt that this should continue and that the evil should be allowed complete control and destroy Kedusha. During these times, we have to be firm. If I could quote Churchill, who I quoted not long ago in a class, we shall not flag or fail. We cannot surrender. When Kedusha is at stake, we have to be strong, and we have to know that the truth in the end will win. We have to be firm and guard Torah, guard Kedusha, and everything we do has to be to uphold Hashem's honor and to walk proudly in the dignified ways of the Torah. This guy b'darkei Hashem, v'yig b'libu b'darkei Hashem, to stand proud and have a strong heart when we're going in Hashem's ways. Hashem should bless our efforts and help each and every one of us to see with the clarity what's going on and to be part of the redemption process through our prayers and through our strengthening in all areas of our service. At the same time, to act with kindness and warmth to our Jewish brethren who are mistaken. At the same time, not to let ourselves be victimized and not to let the glory of Hashem be desecrated during these difficult times. Amen. Came to it.